Alright guys, I wanted to make a tutorial video on how to customize, or modify the H23A Euro R intake manifold. The reason why it has to be modified in our case is we'll be running a 2-wire auto air control valve in the back, and also a fuel rail, because this fuel line doesn't add up to, doesn't go to the Civic that we have. Also, we're going to delete the EGR valve. But what you have to do is, I got all this info off of Rosko Racing, by the way, which is a good website showing you how to modify this intake manifold, and it has a bunch of options as far as fuel rails, injectors. But what I got was the direct fuel rail. This goes on there using these stock injectors. So I'm going to put this on there. It's Rosko Racing. The Rosko Racing auto air control valve plate, which you put this on, and you can put the auto air control valve from a 2-wire, that's what we're going to be using since we're running a P28. It comes with hardware for the fuel rail, and as far for the EGR valve, I'm just putting a generic plate on there. But to block off these holes, I got it's a 10-30 second tap for the holes, and then just some set screws to go in it also. I don't know if you can see that, but first what I'm gonna do is, I already took the bolts off, but this old EGR valve is not gonna be used. So the plate that I have actually takes bolts, so I'm gonna try to remove these. This is kind of a trick to get the stud off. So one stud is off. The trick to get the stud off is you just put both nuts on there. You tighten down the top nut onto the bottom nut, and then you just back it off, loosen it, and it comes right off. The stud will come off. And that way we're able to put the block off plate on there. The gasket's still good. Alright, that's the block off plate part right there. Next I'll take the fuel rail off and configure on how to put this fuel rail on. and then that will enable us to put this idle air control valve on there like so. So that's how the new setup will be. That way with the P28, it reads a 2-wire, plug it in there, and just run these hoses where they would usually go. So we have the outer air control valve, not relocation, but adapter bracket, EGR plate, and plugged off the holes there. Actually, my tap actually broke off in one of these holes while I was doing it, so I'll have to go to the store and swap it out and continue to do these. But what I've done is plug that one, and the fuel rail will sit on there like this. You know, it's got a spacer there, and pretty much it'll be just like that. Alright, so I had a couple, well not a couple, but I had a problem. My tap actually broke off into this hole right here. So I got this one done, and this one done. But the tap broke off in there. So what I did, I mean, it was probably be sealed okay, but I just put a little bit of Honda Bond in there. But right now what I'm gonna do is if this customer ever wants to put aftermarket injectors in, or even if it had the regular H22 injectors, the spray pattern would be different. So I marked it in black, the areas that needed to be kind of shaved down, but it has a lip right here that actually needs to be shaved in case he ever wants to put aftermarket injectors, or like I said, the H22 injectors. If he would not grind this down, you will get a drip supposedly. So what I'm doing, you can see this one, I've already shaved it down pretty good there. So I'm just gonna finish up on all these. Trip, because supposedly on that lip right there, the fuel would drip on, it would get caught on there and drip on there. So that's all you have to do for that part. Pretty much, if you have a stock H22 manifold, you can compare it, or if you have a gasket, you can compare it. I have a gasket here. That's, you know, I guess they're cutting grass over there. But yeah, so I've modified that, the runners, I put the plugs in here. The next thing I'm going to do is mock up the fuel rail. So the fuel rail, it fits good, but I believe it's supposed to run maybe like USDM H22 injectors. So there's actually a gap when I put it down, and if I would use these spacers that I'm supposed to use, there would be a gap, like it doesn't close, the injector doesn't sit all the way in here. So what I'm gonna do is just put the bolts in here with a couple washers. That way it's nice and tight once I bolt it down. But like I showed you earlier, the EGR plate is done, and this auto air control valve plate, you know, adapter is fitted on also. the fuel feed will come in from the passenger side, you want to put your cap on this side. And Rosko, they were out of stock of the fitting that goes here for your banjo, it's like a banjo bolt for your fitting on your fuel line. So we're waiting on that. They're going to send that in a couple days. I guess they were out of stock. But that right there is pretty much what it's going to look like. So the runners are modified, shaved down for the spray pattern, you know, and fuel rail installed, idle air control valve plate adapter installed, and the EGR block off. These are the things you have to do if you want to definitely run this on any H22. But I'm doing this on the Euro R because we're running a P28 for the 2-wire idle air control valve, and just wanted to delete the EGR since we're not using it anyways, and put the fuel rail on because this rail, I don't know if we were going to be able to get the fuel line to reach all the way to here, so we got the nice rail. So yeah, that's it. That's how you modify the H23A Euro R manifold. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll be giving you more videos and more content very soon. Hopefully I'll get this clutch kit and be dropping this motor in, so stay tuned.